Welcome back to another Onshape video tutorial for the Bryanston School C skateboard project. In this video we are going to add some of the details to the skateboard deck, including the mounting holes for the trucks and cleaning up the edges with a fillet. So let's get our file open up so that we can work on it. So we're going to go to our skateboard project and open up our file by double clicking on it, and that will load into the modeling area. And here's the deck that we created in the last video tutorial. So we're going to want to put in holes for assembling the deck to this. So we're going to do that on the top work plane. Now our top work plane is actually buried within the model, but we can still right click on the top work plane over on the list on the left hand side to create a new sketch. So left click, new sketch. And then we're going to press N to view onto that work plane. So nice and flat, easier to draw. Now it doesn't matter if it orientates around the other way, if it's horizontal or vertical, just change the way in which you draw this. So we're going to create a series of holes that we're going to cut through the deck. So let's do that. I'm going to start off with a center point circle, and I'm just going to draw that down the bottom left hand corner as I'm looking at it, and I'm just going to drag it out, and it's going to be too big and it's going to be in the wrong place, but that doesn't matter because we're going to use the dimension tool. I'll leave it big to start with. So I'm going to use the dimension tool. I'm going to come from the origin, or I could also come from the edge of the front work plane, and I'm going to go to the center of the circle, and that distance wants to be 250 millimeters. I now want to come from the origin or the right work plane again to the center of the circle, and that distance wants to be 21 millimeters. So this is our first hole. I'm now going to draw a second circle, but I want to make sure that I align it with the center of this circle. So I'm going to go to the circle tool. I'm going to hover over the center of the circle that we've already got, and then I'm going to go up, and hopefully you can see a dotted orange line to show that the center of this one's going to be lined with it. Left click to place the center, move out, left click again, and I've got that circle drawn. So let's add some dimensions in now. So I'm going to dimension the distance between those two circles, so from the center of this one to the center of that one, and I want that to be 63 millimeters. So type in 63 on the keyboard, hit enter, and you can see they're quite close. Whilst I've got the dimension tool, I'll dimension this circle as well. So I'm going to left click on the edge of the circle, and I'm going to change the diameter to 5 millimeters. Now I could also, just zooming in with the scroll wheel now, I could also dimension this one, but if we wanted to change the sizes at a later date, why change two dimensions when we can change one? So I'm going to use the equal constraint to make both of them the same. So I'm going to use the equal tool, left click on this circle, left click on that one, and this one changes to the same size. Now again, as I said in the last video, if you can't see all of the constraints, sometimes they're hidden under a menu from the arrow, so just click on the arrow and that should give you all of the options. Why is that useful? Because say we wanted to change our mounting holes, we were using different size bolts, we could just go in and change the dimension of one of them. So say it needed to be 10 millimeters, we can change that to 10 millimeters, and it changes the other one as well. Right, let's just double click, select it, change it back to 5. So we've got two mounting holes, but we need a couple more. So I'm going to right click, zoom to fit, just so that we can see the edge of this plane. And I'm now going to use the mirror tool. So select a mirror line, it's going to be the edge of the right work plane. Select what we want to mirror, that circle and that circle. Make sure we get the edges and not the points. That's what the little error message was there. There we go. So we need to select the edges, and we've got that mirrored. So what we now want to do is just to remove material to create those mounting holes. So let's use the extrude feature, and we're going to remove, and because the plane that we've drawn it on is in the middle, we actually want to go both sides of that. The deck is 10 millimeters thick, so we can leave the default deck of 25, and we can just click on the symmetric and that then means it goes in both directions, and if I click on the tick you can see that we've got holes going through there. And we want some holes in the same position on the other side, so this time let's mirror the feature. So we use the mirror tool, we'll change it from part mirror to feature mirror. The feature to mirror is going to be extrude 2, and the mirror plane is going to be the front plane. Click the tick to say we're happy, and we've got both sets of holes. Now just the last thing to do on these holes, because the screws that we were using to make our skateboards are countersunk, we ought to make these countersunk holes as well. So we're going to use the chamfer tool. We want a distance of 2mm, so just change that to 2mm if it isn't already. And just the top edge of each of those holes, zoom in if it makes it a bit easier with the scroll wheel on the mouse. Zoom out, zoom in again to do these. And they're all done, so click the tick to say that we're happy. Right click, isometric, so there's our skateboard so far. And the last thing to do is just to put a little radius or a fillet onto the edges of the skateboard. So we'll do that with the fillet tool. And we want that to be 4mm, so change that to 4mm if it's not already done. And then just click on all of the edges around the skateboard on both the top surface and the bottom surface. So just zoom in and out to allow you to make sure that you're selecting all of those. And there we go, that's all done. And that is our skateboard deck finished. So right click, left click on isometric, we can view it in its glory. And if you wanted to do a screenshot of that, you didn't want the work planes visible, if you go to the menu on the left, you can click on the little eye and that will turn off the work planes. And likewise, you can do the same with the origin if you don't want the origin there. If you just want a nice clean model, if you were going to do a screenshot and put that in a portfolio. That's the end of the second tutorial. That's the deck completed. In the third tutorial, we'll model the gasket that fits between the skateboard deck and the trucks. Thanks for watching.